Why do we sit here till we die? If we say, let us enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we also die. So now come, let us go over to the camp of the Syrians. If they spare our lives, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall but die. I want to talk about an urgent call to an unanticipated blessing. I didn't read the part about the blessing that's in the text, but our preacher did the end. Therefore, you can get excited early in the morning. An urgent call to an unanticipated blessing. Pray with me if you will. I know it's early, but at least let there be a twinkle in your eye, a smile on your face every now and then. There comes a time in each life when key decisions related to critical issues must be made.
Amen.
And what I'm speaking is purely truth.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the lightweight decisions that can be delayed, you can put off lightweight things, postponed, or even ignored. There are some that stand up and demand to be processed quickly and accurately. I speak of a moment where the results of such decisions have something important weighing in the balances. I speak of a moment when circumstances align themselves in such a way as to create the urgency for making a timely decision.
Amen.
Right.
There are some things that cannot wait.
That's right.
There are some situations that demand that we move quickly and at once.
My Lord.
How long will you be halted between two opinions? How long will you be vacillating between several ideas? Choose one, and you'll find that it is the correct one if you pray about it.
All right. All right. All right.
And I find that sometimes people who think too much have a problem called the paralysis of indecision. You know, having to think about something too much and you can't tie up all the angles. If I do this, no, but if I do that, no, but I shouldn't do this, but maybe I ought to do that. And you end up being halted, the paralysis of indecision. And after a while, there's some things that you can no longer be paralyzed about. It demands that action be taken.
All right. Amen.
Sure what I'm talking about. In the text, there were 4 leprous men. Gehazi and his 3 sons, and they sat near the city limits discussing the gravity of their circumstances. You see, there was a famine in the land, and it was so severe till it was life-threatening, especially to these men who were outcast from the other people because they had a contagious disease.
All right. Amen.
In other words, they were outcast and they couldn't be around their own people because they were sort of pushed to the side. You know, many times people push us to the side and we don't have leprosy.
All right. That's right. That's right.
Somebody can push you to the side because of whatever their reasons are, and everybody's having a problem, but you know, you can't go back to folk who push you to the side.
My Lord.
So they were there by themselves discussing the gravity of their circumstances. And basically their internal source for sustaining themselves through this famine was depleted. It was gone, it was used up. They were out of everything that they needed in order to survive. And Gehazi and his 3 sons were in a serious dilemma.
All right.
There was a food shortage, crisis in the land, and the problem wasn't just theirs. Everybody was hit with the same problem. Neighbors who had enough for more than a few days could share with other healthy citizens if they elected to. However, even if they had it, nobody would come close to these isolated men because of their dreadful disease called leprosy.
That's right. Right. That's right.
So this widespread shortage of bread was especially hard for these 4 individuals, since none would come near to assist them.
All right.
Many in the same situation would feel sorry for themselves, but not these 3 individuals.
Yes.
Many would be so depressed till they would just give up, but not these 3 individuals.
All right.
The moment of urgency was here, and they refused to throw what people say a pity party.
All right.
They refused to have a moment when they just met with nothing but lamentations and woes coming out of their speech. The moment of reckoning was here. And instead of crying, woe is me, they came together and spent what could be their last hours reasoning with one another.
Right. Amen.
No, it is a peculiar thing how the urgency of a situation will cause people who have a survival instinct to come together and seek a solution. It's interesting how the urgency of a situation will cause people who normally don't even speak to come and start talking after a while.
Right.
Matter of fact, if everybody's affected by the same thing, folk who couldn't talk to somebody else, or people who had a grudge or something, they sort of get rid of it because you understand we're all in this thing together, and it takes everybody's mind to figure out a way to get out of it.
That's right.
And through.
Amen.
The will to live or die with dignity caused Gehazi and his 3 sons to knock on the door of possibility against the cold reality of impending doom.
All right.
They reasoned together with a sense of urgency and made a resolution concerning what they should do immediately.
Amen.
Not what they should do after a while. Not what they ought to do, when we sort of feel like doing it. We'll postpone it as long as we can. The urgency of the moment says you got to come up with what you're going to do immediately, or you'll have some dire consequences. Listen to what they said in the text. Why sit here and die? Why just sit here? In other words, they were excommunicated from the folks. They wouldn't receive them. There was a famine in the land, and the food they had was running out.
All right.
So they just sat there and they said, why just sit here and die? We need to do something.
All right.
And this statement challenges the mindset of complacency.
All right.
In other words, you can't afford to just be complacent. On some issues, you can't just afford to just sit there it'll be all right, it'll work itself out.
That's right.
There are some things that you got to get up and do some things about because it becomes urgent.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Lord.
Couldn't have a mindset of complacency. It speaks to the tendency to sit in the face of trouble in a powerless and helpless mode.
All right. All right.
Why sit here and die?
Yes.
This question was a call to action. why sit here and let myself just go away? I know I need to do something, but I think I'll just sit here. It was a call to action. It was a call to take control of the circumstances, which pointed to a certain death without doing something.
All right.
I can stop here and sort of digress because somebody got a certain reading at a test that you might have gone to, and it says you got to change your habits. Yes, if you continue this way, you will certainly die.
All right.
Diabetic. A1C number off the chain. Why just sit here? Now, I like to eat what I like to eat.
All right. My Lord.
I'm not changing nothing. I've been eating this all my life, and somebody gonna tell me I need to change. I'm gonna sit here and do what I always did.
My Lord.
But if you do that, you will sit there and certainly, possibly die.
That's right.
Without doing something different.
All right.
It implied that they would certainly die if they just sat on their hands and passively let time just tick-tock away without doing something.
All right.
The urgency of the moment motivated them to make a resolution to create an action plan versus sitting still and dying without at least trying to do something in order to live.
All right.
It's one thing just to sit there and allow things to happen. At least you ought to, do something about it.
That's right.
And if you can't do something about it yourself, turn it over to the Lord. He can take care of it. And that's an action plan.
That's right.
And we're having this time, we're having this focused moment of prayer, this war room prayer session. I'll always talk about that because it's an action plan.
Yeah.
If it's too much for you to do something about, if it's overwhelming you have the paralysis of indecision, you know what? There is a decision you can make when you are stuck with indecision, and that is to turn it over to the Lord. Now, that sounds very simple, but it is an action plan.
Amen.
And I must admit, trying to do something always involves a degree of risk.
That's right.
Some people are risk adverse. I won't try that. It's risky. I can't take any risk. But don't you know you took a risk to leave your house this morning and drive to church?
Amen. That's right.
No guarantee you get here. No guarantee that somebody wouldn't run across the road and do something. Everything involves a degree of a risk if you're going to do anything. But it doesn't have to involve a foolish risk.
All right.
Trying something involves a calculated risk in order to get past a stuck place.
My Lord.
Why be stuck? Because you're afraid to try to do something to get yourself unstuck.
All right.
Why remain in your sickness instead of trying to do something to get better? Why stay with the same physician if it's been recommended that you shift and go to another one?
All right.
Why be stuck taking the same medication if you know that it's no longer working for you?
All right.
Take the risk of trying a new prescription given by another physician. Take the risk. It's a calculated one. But if you don't, why sit here and die? Therefore, these men made a resolution to make a calculated risk.
All right.
They sat under the sky of necessity. And I've heard it, and you might have heard it, that necessity is the mother of invention.
My Lord.
Necessity will cause a person to create a calculated action plan if they're going to try to live and not at least go down trying.
That's all right.
Anybody here ever been in a place of necessity?
My Lord.